What would you say is the problem that you're trying to solve?
I'm trying to solve the problem of increasing women's representation in the formal sector, working with startups, organizations, and governments, including our own, to make sure that women are everywhere where decisions are being made.
I love that. That's a great thing to be working on. Let me get some photos of you right over here.
Thank you.
What would you say are some of the key ingredients that brought you to where you are now?
So I think some of the key ingredients are really like an openness, a little bit of grit, willing to be scrappy. Um, One of the moments in my life that really stood out was having a very big appetite for education, both in and outside of the classroom. Learning languages, having the privilege to travel and learn from other cultures has been invaluable. And that paired with being from the Bay Area, seeing the past 30 years, how tech and innovation has been both good, bad, and ugly. Has allowed me to be very adaptable, both optimistic but realistic about how to create actionable plans and solutions that really benefit the majority and not just the privileged few. And so a little bit of grit, tenacity, integrity. And then the last thing, I think the key ingredient is like love and care, because that's really what brings us together as humans. So I try to bring that into my business, into my presence, into everything I do.
Nice. Those are some great ingredients to have. They're very unique, but coming together, blending well. I feel like that's really important to have that good mix.
Yeah, it's big soup.
Yeah.
Smorgasbord.
All right, let me get some photos right over here. What was the biggest challenge early on in your business?
Oh, I think the biggest challenge early on was definitely finding my authentic voice. So having a career working in many different sectors and many different roles made it hard to be able to synthesize what my value was as a business, and also tuning in with why I work well with people. And so it took me a while to find that authentic voice that I think creates harmony both in businesses, but also resonates with the people in those businesses or organizations. And so that's an ongoing project, but it's definitely one that was an early challenge and probably continues to be one.
Yeah, that is a really tough thing. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with that right now?
Oh, really like stick with authenticity, because there will always be someone, a market, a community, an organization that it will resonate with. So don't spend as much time trying to find out what other people want and need, because that always changes. I think that when you speak with confidence and passion and with like are in tune with your own integrity, that resonates with people and they end up becoming more attracted to you and the work that you're doing. Granted, that comes with a lot of privilege, experience. So if you're young, be open to making mistakes, and then you can make better mistakes the next time. And if you're older, like do it scared. Even if it scares you, if it feels right and if it feels really authentic, then just do it anyways, because I'm living proof that it will resonate with someone, so you're not alone.
Yeah, that's true. Being authentic can actually be a superpower, because you end up attracting brands that are aligned with you. Absolutely. And that you actually want to work with and you're excited to work with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's great advice. Let me get some photos of you right over here. What would you say is the biggest lesson you learned while writing a book?
It's both simple and complex, but just do it. I think we have this one precious life. And so I had to deal with a lot of internal demons or narratives that said, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have the perseverance, you don't have the resources. And I decided to do it anyways. Do it scared, do it when you don't want to, do it when you have those creative bursts. And in the end, I really did it so that if anyone else was feeling the way that I felt, that they weren't alone. And so it's kind of like that story of walking down a beach and you see 1,000 starfish on the beach and someone says, oh, well, we can't save them all, so we shouldn't do anything. And someone just starts picking them up and throwing them in. And they're like, well, it matters to that one and that one. And that literally creates a ripple effect that can affect other people. And so that was a big lesson that I learned. And it's actually a big reward that I had as well.
Yeah, that's really meaningful. It can be overwhelming when there's so much to do, but then when you just look at those little pieces and start tackling them one by one.
Just break them into little crumbs. You know, if you wrote one word one day, that's progress. So some people say, how long did it take you to write a book? And I was like, well, I thought about it for 10 years and then it finally took me a year to do it. But I consider that like 11 years.
You probably were learning a lot about yourself during those years and like,
yeah,
breaking connections in your brain together.
And I remember hearing this quote when I was younger. This was around when social media was on the rise, that said, how dare you sit down and write when you have not stood up and lived? And so I really like held that quote dearly for some reason, where I was like, no, I want to live. I want to learn. I want to interact. I want to be present before I sit down and reflect. But now that I'm a little bit later in my life, I felt like now is a great time.
I'm glad you went for it.
Yeah,
let me get some photos of you right over here. What advice would you give to a startup founder who's wanting to be mission driven, but finding it hard to get that going from the ground up?
It is hard, but it'll be worth it. And so don't do what everyone else is doing, because the true innovation that I've seen in tech in Silicon Valley and San Francisco is when people have a very strong mission that they will carry out no matter what, whether that's their business, it's their life, there is some connection there. And some of the most popular movements, art, culture, originally people didn't agree with. They thought it was bad. When you stand true to yourself, true to your beliefs, and true to the mission, that will eventually create community and create movement. And so you will get distracted from glitz, glam, people claiming that there are shortcuts, claiming there are make money fast solutions. But at the end of the day, true mission work takes decades, if not eras. And you're trying to set up success and set the world up in a better place than what it was. So be patient, be kind, go against the current, not with it, and stay true to yourself.
Those are some great words. Great words of advice. Let me get some photos right over here. What's your take on hustle culture?
I don't subscribe to it, but I used to be addicted to it. So it is a muscle that I have worked out really well. I've seen everyone else around me do it, but ultimately people are not machines, contrary to hustle culture belief. And there are a lot of external variables that impede or challenge your ability to show up. And so I think if we honor people as they are and meet them where they are, create systems, ways of working that meet them where they are as humans, then that is like a restorative rebellion, also title of my book, that is worth living. And so hustle culture can be good in short sprints, but when it is definitive of the culture itself, it just leads to burnout, to breakdown, to isolation, and none of that is good. So yeah, I guess that's my take.
It's not a long-term strategy, but it might be necessary in short bursts sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Let me get some photos of you right over here. What would you say is your deeper why?
My deeper why is for better or for worse. I love humanity. I want to try and honor it, make the world a better place than when I left it. And I think that's really centered around care, understanding, creating restorative systems, learning from our past mistakes and growing together, but also being willing to get comfortable and uncomfortable. And so I think my bigger why is really just around helping people, bringing them together, giving them a little bit of hope when they might not have it, because so many have done that for me. And so it would be a gift to give it to others.
It's beautiful. We could all use a little more hope.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Let me get some last photos of you right here. Then I think we'll be good.
you.